I'm Stephen Jones, and I'm talking from Paris at the Palais Galliera. Well, the great thing was that, in fact, the Palais Galliera were the coordinators and they curated the exhibition. So it was their choice, but trying to find all the hats was actually quite difficult because they had to come from my archive, from Antwerp, from private clients, from designers. And it's quite a long time ago. Nowadays, for example, places like Dior or Louis Vuitton have their own heritage departments, but companies like Gaultier or Thierry Mugler, they don't have them. That idea of keeping things didn't exist then. So it was a huge amount of research. I mean, we've been working on this for, I think, 7 years now, or 8 years.
Wow.
So it didn't happen automatically. What I wanted to do when I worked on this exhibition, that it was good not only for fashion people, but for guys, for children, for people who really don't know anything about fashion at all. So because it's quite a broad concept, we think it's going to appeal in many different countries. Paris, is this mythical place for us. It's a place of beauty, of feminine culture, of perfume, of powder, and of course of haute couture. And if you close your eyes and you imagine what is a Paris dress, it's got a big skirt, maybe that's Dior, but she's always wearing a hat.
If there is any place which inspires you most in Paris?
The place that inspires me most, I don't know, you could say my atelier, you could say the angels, the gold angels with the horses on Pont Alexandra.
How do you find all these ideas through years and years?
Years and years, exactly. I've been doing it for a long time. I don't know, I live my life and I put it into a hat. So, maybe this conversation, maybe lunch today, maybe something that I research here at the Palais Galliera, that's going to inspire me. And in fact, in the exhibition, most of them are my hats, but some hats are also from the Palais Galliera. They have an archive of 4,000 hats. I didn't look at any of them. I probably looked at 40, but 40 took me forever, so I couldn't see it. But Marie-Laure Bouton, who's the curator of the exhibition, she recommended certain hats. So, for example, we have Audrey Hepburn's fur hat.
I know that it will be very difficult, but if you can pick just one hat here at the exhibition, what would it be?
That's like choosing my favorite child. You're not allowed to do that. But really, there's a hat called Rose Royce, which is a top hat, which is really a symbol of England. And it looks almost like a beret, like a rose on top of it. And that's probably my favorite. And it's a pivotal hat in the exhibition that whether it changes from London to Paris.
But how do you think the young generation adopt this style? Do young people still wear hats and have the culture of wearing hats?
Absolutely, young people have a culture of wearing hats. I mean, if you think of Beyoncé's world tour, cowboy hat, suddenly every young girl going out on a Friday night, going to a party, wants to wear a cowboy hat. Yeah, they're Beyoncé. Or every young guy going out and he wants to look like 50 Cent or Usher or something like that because they're wearing a baseball cap. And maybe they want to look like Emily in Paris and wear a beret.
Does it happen to you to use artificial intelligence technologies to push the process of design, what a lot of designers use now, not for creating, but just to develop?
I think I'm artificial intelligence. Fashion is all a lie. And so it's some intelligence. But yeah, I mean, we use, it's strange. Even though I'm making handmade hats, which often in a way is very traditional, the method of communication of that is always absolutely up to date. So many years ago, I was the first to use a fax machine and then email, and now I use AI to communicate what I do. So it's always a place. And in fact, here in the exhibition, we have a photo booth that with AI, you can try all the hats on. And there's some real hats we're showing in the exhibition, and there's some AI hats too.
If we talk about hats, we can try with AI. Which hat from the exhibition will suit me well?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to try a few on. But, something which was quite dramatic I mean, not to have something sparkly to go with you, because I think you quite like the idea of a party hat. I think something which is quite fantasy, not too practical. I think would make you a hat for a great party, maybe for New Year's Eve or something like that, or maybe even your birthday. I think you're quite unafraid also. So I think you could have something quite extravagant and have a great time, because it's not only how you feel, it's how you make your friends feel.
So this one, by the far, one of my favorite runways by Thom Browne, especially these ears of the body. Can you tell us 2 words about this amazing collaboration, please?
So Tom I've known for many years now, and I knew him through Andrew Bolton, who is a great friend, who's the director of the Costume Institute at the Met. And I've been a huge admirer and actually a client of Thom Browne. And then one day he said, would you make hats with me? So he came to London and came to my studio, and we sat and sketched together. And Tom's very much about the concept of the collection, the staging, the runway, everything about it comes together, and the hats are just part of that. But say, for example, for this outfit just behind us here, which is extraordinary, this was going to be a grand haute couture show in Paris. So as inspiration, we took all the pigeons, the greyness of Paris, the drama of Paris, and this is actually one of the gargoyles from on top of Notre Dame. My very first collaboration in Paris was Jean-Paul Gaultier. I'd been in the video of Culture Club's Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? And in that video, I was wearing a fez. He saw that video and after a few different things, invited me to collaborate on his first women's collection. In fact, I went to see him to see another film of the collection. And he said, would you like to work with me on women's? And he said, I'm going out for lunch now. I'll be back in about an hour and a half. If you can do some sketches, I'll come back and choose. So like a madman, I was sketching in complete panic. And he came back and he said, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, yes. And that was the beginning of my first collaboration in Paris with Jean-Paul. This is Maison Margiela. This is John Galliano's first ever show for them. This was actually shown in London, not in Paris, even though it was made in Paris. And this is the bride from John's first collection. And this is so incredible. And it has this chest piece, and it's all John's cutting, and this incredible mask.
When people ask me if you want to travel in time, I always answer Studio 54 to party with Montana, Chantal Thomas and Kenzo, or Blitz to make a party with Stephen Jones and his friends.
Well, yeah, you're quite welcome. Would you like a drink?
I love it.
But you need a hat.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, and what hat?
Yeah. Well, something sparkly.
Yeah.
But it was an incredible time, and it was maybe 50, 100 like-minded people who were all really creative. At that time, the Blitz happened because it had been punk beforehand, and after punk, what do you do? There was a vacuum. And we started to look into the past as well as the future. And that's why it's called New and Romantics, because it was, the romance of Paris, the romance of London. And we were searching to try and find something new, because we believed that the world which existed out there was not for us. So we were trying to make our fantasy real